Let's face it, no one can be bothered to sort their own chest, and yet we get so annoyed and so frustrated when they turn out to be full of absolute rubbish. So today we're going to be taking a look at this extremely simple multi-item sorter version 2.0. This thing is the current second smallest multi-item sorter to ever exist, only being beaten by the original design. And yes, it is still as crazy cheap, using only 10 hoppers, which is the same amount as double chests. So it's going to be 1 double chest per hopper. How crazy is that? Now each section of this can be built 1 block apart from each other, meaning you can have loads of chests in a very small area, making it really nice and simple. Anyways, let's just go ahead and take a closer look at this thing. Hello everyone, my name's Tomco, welcome back to another redstone video for the Bedrock version of Minecraft. Now today we're going to be taking a look at this extremely simple multi-item sorter. Now if you don't know what a multi-item sorter is, it's basically an item sorter that can sort many items. Duh. So let's say we look in this chest, I can see it's sorting more than one. So it's sorting oak logs, it's sorting stripped oak logs, and also oak wood planks. So literally you can have as many different things in one chest as you can fit. Now let's see, look in the one above, I can see the same thing applies here. There's more than one thing. And of course, you gotta love the redstone chest. So let's say we're going to put redstone dust into here. If we turn this on, basically that redstone dust is eventually going to make its way into this chest over here, and what we're going to be able to see is 17 redstone dust. Of course, 1 at 16 equals 17. Math boy. Now the only downside of this whole thing is the noise. However, try to make it as quiet as I possibly can. However, there's not much that I can do with the pistons, and of course this thing uses a piston tape to work. But the on and off switch does make everything silent when you turn it off. And as you can see, it's already done it. I mean, that was crazy fast, thinking that this uses piston feed tapes. And of course, let's say we put something in here that isn't in the whole system. It's just going to go into the backflow over chest here. So it's just going to land into there, where you can like put it into a bulk storage bit if you really wanted to. Now this is what it looks like. As you see, each section is extremely small. As you see, it is only 4 blocks wide. I mean, this is what it looks like from the back, and it doesn't cause any lag, so don't worry about that. It just looks insane. Anyway, that's all the explaining needed. Let's just go ahead and crack on with this tutorial. So to build 1 silo of this, you're going to need all these items. Now those iron blocks over there, they do not have to be iron blocks. They can literally be anything from a stack of dirt to a stack of diamond blocks. As long as you have a stack of blocks, then it doesn't matter. And same as that's half slab. Just bring any half slab. Now, you are going to need a piece of obsidian. Now, if you have a grindstone or an extended piston or anything that doesn't move, you can even stack up 12 blocks if you really wanted to. You can replace that obsidian with it. But as long as you have something that can't be pushed by pistons, it can replace the obsidian. Anyway, once you got all of that, let's just crack on with the first silo. So bear in mind that the first one we're going to build, you're going to be extending to the right. So we're going to be building this one, and you can only expand it going this way. So you can't go on going that way. Oops, it has to go to the right. So we're building this one here, but you are going to be able to expand it to the right once you built it. Just bear that in mind so you don't end up building it in the wrong place and having to tear it down. As honestly, that would break my soul and my whole point of living. It really would. You're going to have to need a 4x4 area to fit each section in this. Now, after the first one's done, it's only actually going to be 3 blocks wide. So just the very first one over here is going to have to be 4 blocks, but the rest are going to be 3 blocks wide. So to start off, I'm going to be placing my chest, just so it gives you a rough idea of where everything else is going to go. And you want to come up 2 blocks from the center over here, and you place a double chest this way, and a double chest just to the right of it like so. Now you do have to crouch when you're placing it. If you're on Pocket Edition, then you can just stack up a couple of blocks and then crouch and place it like this. But if you're on Windows 10 or Xbox or anything, just crouch and place it at the same time. So once you've got something like this in place, you want to stack another 4 rows of these on top of each other. So here's the second, third, 4, and 5. So it's going to be 5 double chests on top of each other like so. Go ahead and repeat this on the other side. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it's going to be looking something like this once you've done. So this is where your items are actually going to be. So now that we've got our chest in place, we're going to be doing the actual redstone for this thing. What you want to do, you want to place in 3 blocks running along the bottom like so, with a little block upwards. Placing 2 redstone dust over here with a repeater going into this block. Then place the lever over here. Now this is going to be the lever that turns on everything. So when you flick this, it'll turn on, and when you flick it, it'll turn off. And you just want to leave that on for now. You don't want to come round to the other side of this block. You want to place a redstone torch just like this, with 2 blocks just like so. You want to put a redstone on this one, and a 40 delay repeater over here, with another block in front of it. So it looks something like this from the front. Now when we flick this lever, this whole thing should be going in a loop. So bear that in mind. If yours isn't going in a loop, then you probably misplaced a repeater or something. So just bear in mind that it should all be going in a loop. You then have to make your way back around to the back over here and place a piston facing upwards, so that when we activate this, the piston extends and retracts. Just lock that again. We don't want to be hearing that all day. And you place a piston facing into that piston. So let's say we put a block over here, and then we place it down now. What should happen is something like that, where the block will eventually make its way here. Just flip that lever for now so it doesn't do that. So now get your hoppers out. You can place a block just to the bottom right over here. Now bear in mind we are in the back. So this is the front, and this is going to be the back over here. What you do to place a hopper going into that block. So if you look from the back, the hopper is facing that direction. You then have to come around to the other side, and you just place a hopper that is going into this hopper. So let's say you put a block inside of this hopper. It should appear inside this one. So if you've done that right, then you've done it right. Now keeping at the back over here, you're going to place a block on top of this torch over here, with another piston on top of that block, another redstone torch, another block on top of it, then another redstone torch. If it goes block, piston, torch, block, torch. So now when we unactivate the redstone down here, that redstone torch to the top should be flickering on and off. You then place a block on top of that redstone torch, a piston coming away from it, so it's going from the left to the right. You then place a redstone torch to the side of that, with a block on top of its face, and then a top half lab just to the right of it, with another redstone dust on top of it, so that redstone dust should be activated by this redstone torch over here. So now when we want to activate this, all this redstone should be flickering on and off, and it should be looking something like this, with all the pistons going out of their minds. Crazy. Just keep this activated. You then place a temporary block over here with a regular piston just facing downwards. That should activate. You can remove this. Get your obsidian out, and you place your obsidian here. This stop it from breaking itself. As you didn't have this, then basically what could happen is when stopping it, it can just break. Now what you can also do, if it's easy, you can replace with the piston and place a piston here, and then to keep that activated with the lever, or you can place a grindstone there, but I just prefer using obsidian. You then to get more hoppers and blocks, so you can place a block down here and a block up here. You then place 2 hoppers. You are going to need to crouch and place this, like I said. If you're on Pocket Edition, you just need to stack up a couple blocks. Whoops. Don't miss the block, and then crouch on this and place it. So you want to place in 2 blocks here, a hopper here, 2 blocks here. Whoops, let's go a little bit down, and then 2 more hoppers over here. So now let's say we unactivated this lever over here. What should be happening now is everything should be rotating in a massive circle. So if it's doing this, then you are almost there. You then place a hopper going into this bottom block over here. Now it doesn't matter if there's a hopper over there. You just want to go ahead and crouch and place it. So you just want this hopper to be facing into that block. Then place another hopper going into that hopper. You are going to need to crouch and place it. You then place a temporary block over here, a sticky piston facing downwards, a block underneath that temporary block. Destroy this, and a 4-tick delay repeater just like so. So now that should be 1 silo, all the redstone's done. But before that, I'm going to show you how to expand and add more silos to this, as it is different to this first one. Now the first one should be looking like this, but everything else that's connected to this should not be like this. So you are going to need another 3 blocks of space to the right. You then once again come up and place a double chest over here, and then a double chest over here just like so. And then once again come up 4 rows above that. But it should be looking at something like this with all the chests in place. So now you want to come to the bottom of the silo over here and place a block just here with the redstone dust on it. Now it should be connected to that torch. So it should be connected to that torch over there. You want to place a redstone torch just to the side of that. You then place in 2 blocks in front of it. Redstone repeater, redstone dust, a block up, and then redstone torch just to the side of it. You then want to replace the block that this repeater is standing on over here, and you want to put a piston facing away from it. Go ahead and replace that redstone torch. Make sure it is on 4-6, and then place a piston facing upwards just like so. You then also want to place a piston coming away from this one, looking something like that. You then place a block on top of this redstone torch, a piston facing this way, redstone torch, block, redstone torch, and then a block. Now it's completely identical to what you've done before. So block, piston, redstone torch, block, redstone torch, block. You then place a piston facing this way, redstone torch, block, top half slab, redstone dust, temporary block, piston facing downwards. Get yourself your obsidian or your non-movable block of choice and place it just like so that now when we come round and unflick this lever, what should happen is both of these now should all be moving. So it should be looking something like this. Now placing a temporary block over here, a hopper going into that, then you want to come round to over here. You want to crouch and place a hopper. Whoops. Can I do it? There we go. So you want to crouch and place a hopper. So if we look under here, that hopper is going to be facing into that hopper. So when this hopper moves downwards, this hopper will go into it, then we'll move the item up, and the item will be moved on to the next silo. That's sort of how that thing works, so I didn't have to use observers when doing it. Now you want to come ahead and place in your 2 blocks, one down there, then one up here. Pillar yourself up some blocks so you'll be able to crouch. Just stand on that. Hey, I actually landed on it this time. You want to put a row of hoppers, 2 blocks, a row of hoppers, 2 blocks, and a row of hoppers just like so. Destroy all these blocks. Then you place a hopper going into this piston. A hopper to the left, so it's going into it. So hopper going into the piston. A 4 delay repeater just on top of that. Get yourself a sticky piston. To face a sticky piston facing downwards. And there we go, that is both of your silos done. Now once again, you can just go ahead and make another silo just onto this. Now, every silo that you are going to need another 3 blocks to make it. And basically you just want to expand from this one. So what it's going to be 2 blocks, a block up, then a redstone repeater with a redstone dust. Now I can see what I'm doing. You're basically just going to build what you built here, but on this side. So once again, you'll put redstone dust over here, redstone dust, torch facing, and then a piston facing upwards, a torch, and then a piston facing this way. So you are literally just building what you built over here, but on here. And there we go, as you see, that is your 3rd one done. So now every time you want to add another silo onto it, you just expand from that. So now when we flick this, I can see every single one of these now should be all rotating nicely. So now it's time to add your input and output blocks. Now I did not include this with the item list, of course. Everyone's is going to be different, so it's hard to do that. So your input block is going to be the left and your output block is going to be the right. You want to place a temporary block over here, then a hopper going into that. Now it's going to be this line of hoppers that's going to be your input blocks. You just want to go ahead and move this. You can move it around, something like this. You can place a double chest here if you really wanted to. So now wherever you put items into this chest, it'll enter the system. Then go all the way through, of course, that's once it's on. So just keep on going round and then all the way through. Then everything that isn't sorted will get put into this chest over here. Now you can just add a bulk storage system onto this if you really wanted to. So now it's time for you to actually program in what you want this whole system to sort. Now, what you need to do is you want to go to every single one of these chests and you want to put in what you want to be in this chest. Let's say I want this one to be a wood chest. I'm going to put a row of this. I can put a row of oak, a row of dark oak, a row of spruce. Let's say I didn't want anything else in that chest. Now you can't leave empty spaces. Now if you have any empty spaces, you do not want empty spaces. So what you want to go ahead and do is you want to get in any blocks. This can literally be any block. I'm just going to be using glass for this. And you have to fill in the rest of the empty space with a block. So it can literally be anything from like a cactus to anything that you have tons of. You don't want to fill the last couple of gaps in with that block. As let's say you didn't have anything filled in there, then what's going to happen is everything's just going to pour into this. It's an empty space basically. And then we can move on to the chest build. Of course, we only have 3 more wood types. You just put a row of here. You can put a row of anything else. So basically you just want to put anything into these chests. So anything that can be sorted, you just want to put it in. So let's say I wanted something like that, and then I could do something completely random, like a couple fence gates. I could fill the rest of the row with that if I really wanted to, but I don't even have to. I can just overflow it a little bit. So really just put in any item that you want to be sorted into this chest, and then of course fill in the rest of these gaps with a temporary block. So you basically just want to do something like that. When any gaps you have in these chests, like so let's say you don't have enough resources to fill it or anything like that, you want to fill it in with blocks. And then you want to get the whole thing done. So you want to make sure that all of these chests have summit in them. Anyway, once you've done that, the tutorial is done. I'd like to thank you very much for watching this. If you enjoyed it or found it helpful in any way possible, please do be considering subscribing, as it just helps so much. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss out on cool stone stuff like this one. Anyway, that's all from me, and I will see you all later. Have fun with your brand spanking new multi-item sorter. See ya.